The attacks on the World Trade Center 9/11 affected so many people around the world. We often hear stories from husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, but we never hear the story from the child's perspective. I was able to contact a girl that I went to elementary school with, whose father was a pilot on one of the jets that crashed into the World Trade Center. She was able to share her emotional story with me on what life was like before the attacks, what life was like the day of the attacks, and how she found out. But she was also willing to share the story of what life was like post 9/11. She talked a lot about her father, whose name was Victor. Victor was very much a family man. He loved his wife, he loved his children. Prior to the attacks, he and his wife were married for around 15 years. They had two kids, Brielle and Kate. Kate was the oldest, Brielle was the youngest. Brielle loved her father so much. She always talked about, how much they did so many things together. He always took her on the planes. She always wanted to be a pilot just like her dad. Her dad, Victor, grew up in Atlantic City where he was born and raised. And then when he went to college, instead of going to college, he decided to go into the Navy, where he served as a pilot and was trained as a pilot. Prior to the Navy, he went into pilot school and got official training, and then decided to go and work for United Airways, where he worked for 16 years prior to being killed. She also mentioned a lot on how much she cared for the country, how much she always wanted to work for the country, be a part of the country, and so on. She was talking about the days leading up to 9/11. She always felt like she always wanted to really be with her dad a lot. A couple days prior, she wanted to make a point to always spend time with him, and she just thought it was whatever. I just want to feel like hanging out with my dad. But in reality, she feels like that was almost like a sign from God that she really needed to spend some time with him because he wasn't going to be around much longer. Brielle talked about how she was in the 5th grade at Quarry Hill Elementary School down in Yardley, and she was in normal class doing her normal homeroom routine when all of a sudden her mother and the principal came to her door and they asked her to come out, and then that's where they told her that there was attacks on the tower and that they believed that it was her father who was one of the planes where his jet got hijacked. She said that at that moment she just felt so empty and crushed, and she basically said, she goes, my life pretty much ended there. Her dad meant everything to her. She always looked up to him for guide and support. She always, wanted to be just like her dad. Her dad was very brave. She wanted to be brave just like him. There was a lot of